Changes are clearly needed in New England after an abysmal 30-24 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. Do those changes start at the top? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so smash that subscribe button, download, subscribe, follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode, folks, brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to, and they help you do it faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Pats fans, we are less than 24 hours removed after the debacle of the season in Las Vegas. The Patriots dropping to 7-7 on the season with a 30-24 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders in dramatic and unfathomable fashion was the word that Steve Balestrieri and I used last night here on the postcast episode, but it is Monster Mad Monday here on Locked On Patriots. It is also Locked On Murph Monday, and joining me, as always on Monday, is the legendary Connor Murphy Fisto himself, Thomas Murphy of E2Gsports.com. Murph, to say that last night was an atrocity is probably doing it justice, but at the same time, giving a couple of hours now to digest and really absorb everything that the Patriots went through. Obviously, there are difficulties abound all throughout the roster, all throughout the play calling scheme, all throughout the coaching staff. When you look at this game last night, my friend, what was your visceral reaction to what you saw, and what kind of feeling did it give you going forward about this team?
I'm glad you said digest because it was Pepto Bismol.
Mhm.
It was awful. Um, what the Patriots were able to do in the second half to negate it in the way that they did, and I'm tired of hearing about the toe. Stop tweeting at me about the toe. We all know that he was out of bounds. All right, that has nothing to do with anything anymore. This has to do with how they ran. They took care of the last 2 minutes and 11 seconds of this
Mhm.
game. All right, to sit there to just put this on Manny Patricia is ridiculous. You have to spread the blame around. All right, it was Gerard Mayo that was telling the DBs to play 10 yards off the receivers and allow Derek Carr to drive down the field again at the
Mhm.
end of the game. Um, but no, like I said, there's plenty of blame to go around. Patricia deserves a lot of it. What the hell are you calling a draw play for there?
Thank
And
you.
then sit there and flat out insult my intelligence, saying that it was just to run out the clock. They had no timeouts. Take a knee. Take a
Mhm.
knee. Why take that chance? Why take the chance, the off chance that Rhamondre Stevenson would fumble the ball? Never mind try to play hero ball with half of the offense. It was ridiculous. It was abysmal. It was terrible play calling. This is the dumbest group of individuals that I have seen in Foxborough since maybe 1979.
Strong statement, but it's a worthy statement, I think, this morning when you look at what the New England Patriots put out on the field yesterday and the promise that they were showing in the second half. I think that's the most disappointing aspect of this for me,
Right.
Murph, is that the team survived after a very difficult first half. And we'll get into the blocked punt in just a moment because I think that was another egregious mistake that really is very uncharacteristic of what we usually see from the Patriots, but characteristic of what we've seen from them this year. And I think that stems from a larger problem that the Patriots are having. But 21 unanswered points in the second half, really
Yep.
coming back to storm back to make this not just a game, but a game that the Patriots should have won. And then I think you articulated this perfectly, and Steve touched on this last night as well. Having your defensive backs play 10 yards off of your target is not going to be the way that you're going to be able to keep pressure on Derek Carr. They could not stop the
Nope.
Raiders on fourth down in critical situations, allowing them to continue to extend drives. If you're, and I said this last night, and I'm going to say it again, if you are a championship caliber team, or at least a playoff contending team, you do
Hmm.
not let your opponent march 81 yards in
Right.
less than 2 minutes. You have to make stops. Even if you've been doing it routinely for the last couple of quarters, that's where you have to come up big. You're coming up big all game. You have to come up bigger in that spot. And this is where I think the problem lies, Murph. And correct me if I'm wrong. Talk me off a ledge if you think I'm being unreasonable. But this to me is, I think, a perfect example of how at all three levels, offensively, defensively, and special teams, that the Patriots players are not being coached properly in those situations
Right.
to give them the information, to give them the experience, and to give them the knowledge they need to make plays. You don't typically see teams break down in terms of a punt block, especially toward the end of the half when you're
Right.
trying to put points on the board or at least protect a bigger lead. That is an egregious coaching
Yeah.
mistake. No one was ready for that punt when it was snapped last night. You mentioned draw plays. You mentioned these issues with the offense about not being able to think on their feet. I think part of the reason why you saw Rhamondre Stevenson and Jakobi Meyers take matters into their own hands last night is because of poor coaching in
Yep.
situations like that. And then, of course, the defensive coaching snafus in the final 2 minutes. So that's my take on this. Am I onto something or am I off base
No,
here?
you are. We said it here 2 weeks ago. All right. We need to stop saying the Patriots aren't playing Patriots football. This is now Patriots football.
Mm,
Cam Accord needs to be fired on the way home. Okay. He shouldn't have even been let, excuse me, back on the plane. All right, there is no reason on God's green earth that that ball was snapped and that freaking, if the Patriots had managed to win last night or not come back, just come up short, we all would have been pointing at that play today. All right, and not the egregious foul up. I'm going to be very nice because this is not my show. Please come for the unedited version later tomorrow on One Patriots Place. Um, they, it's god awful, and this happens time and time and time again with this unit. Okay, you could see it on the face of the veterans as they walked off the field last night that they couldn't believe that the kids that they're surrounded by right now are this dumb.
mm.
And
Yeah,
that includes the coaching staff.
yeah, and it's amazing when you see someone, a legendary player like Julian Edelman up here for years, tweet out after the game, "What the hell are we doing?"
Right,
Um, you almost never see guys called out by veterans in that fashion. You're always going to give the benefit of the doubt to the player.
right.
I think it says a lot about the state of Patriots football. And you're right now. What used to be a punchline up here in New England for the
Hmm.
rest of the NFL, for teams that would inexplicably do things that would leave you scratching your head and say, what were they thinking? The Patriots would never do that.
Nope.
Folks, we're at the threshold of that right now
Yeah.
here in New England, and it's not a good feeling. And I understand any Patriots fan that will come to me or or say that they're frustrated with the way this team is playing or any of the frustrations that they have right now. I can't argue with any of them. You have a right to feel how you feel because it really is a sad state of affairs right now. It's tough to say about a 7-7 team. I know people right now are saying, "Oh, well, you haven't suffered through 1-15 in a long time." Well, Murph and I have long ago, but
Right.
not in the Brady Belichick era.
No.
But 7-7 for this team because of the way they've played is a true
Three
travesty.
games.
This team's,
There,
yeah.
there's 3 games that this team has handed away out of stupidity.
Mm, yeah.
Okay, this is just the cherry on top of it. All right.
Mm,
This team should definitely be a 10-6 team, right? A 10-14. It's
hmm
I can't even do math right now. Simple math in my head because I spent so much time banging it Because after this game last night, I was supposed to go out with my wife to the movies, and she's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going with you like this. I'm not wasting $40 to go sit through a movie. And with you, like, because all I did all night long was pace, because I can't. I'm finding it hard to articulate uh, just how upsetting this
Mhm.
was across the board.
It was.
And I know we're going to get into specifics of ups and downs in this game in just a minute, so I won't jump ahead too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, Murph, there are a lot of ups and downs. There are some ups to be talked about, and we're going to discuss those in just a moment. And also putting the spotlight a little bit on the man under center. Mac Jones last night, rather pedestrian performance, but is he really deserving of a lion's share of the blame here for most of it? There's an argument to be made for that, believe it or not, folks. And Murph and I are going to discuss that in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy Online. Folks, we live in complex times, and whether it be emotional stress or financial stress, health related stress, or social stress related to social anxiety, trying therapy can help you unload that stress and move forward in gaining emotional healing. Unfortunately, life does not come with a user manual, so when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. Everyone deserves to feel their best, and BetterHelp can make you feel better and make it easier to get started. As the world's largest therapy service, they've matched millions of people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. That's all the benefits of in person therapy, plus it's more convenient, more accessible, and more affordable. Just fill out the brief questionnaire and match with a therapist. And if things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist at any time. Folks, it couldn't be simpler. So get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off of your first month at betterhelp.com/locked on. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/locked on. Patriots fans, the holidays are always interesting and they're always exciting. And these days, if you're looking for some help to help you get your business to where it needs to be. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. And that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team. They help you do it faster. Here's the best part, they help you do it for free. That's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to, and they help you do it faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Patriots fans, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2GSports.com, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself here on a little Locked On Murph Monday, a Monster Mad Monday, here with yours truly, Mike Debate, host of the Locked On Patriots podcast. Murph, we've kind of gotten a little bit of the vitriol out of our system, but I know there's still a lot left in there, and
Yeah,
there are a
speak for
lot of
yourself.
reasons. Mea culpa, mea culpa. To be honest with you, that's really what it sounded like last night in the Patriots locker room. Very indicative of Spartacus, if you will. Everybody's taking the
Yep,
blame on themselves. Everybody's
yep.
raising their hand. It's my fault. Rhamondre Stevenson
Me,
saying it's my fault. It's a draw play. I took matters into my own hands. Jakobi Meyers saying he wanted to be the hero. Even Mac Jones saying I should have tackled Chandler Jones. And at
yeah,
6'5",
please, yeah,
just a little
please,
under 300 pounds.
yep.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can let Mac
Yeah.
off the hook for
He,
that
he
one.
wasn't
But
he wasn't grabbing an ankle there and upsetting anybody,
yeah,
as
exactly.
to what happened last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very true.
Mac is not the reason that any of that happened. Oh my
Mhm.
God. And that's
Yeah.
the only blame that I cannot put on him last night. I assume that you're steering this towards the Mac Jones performance last night. Again, it was awful. It
Yeah.
was awful. He missed wide open receivers. He finally gets good play in front of him. He wasn't sacked. He was barely touched last
Mhm.
night.
Yep.
and he couldn't hit wide open receive. Maybe he just thought that Jonnu Smith was out there. It was a ghost or something, and I'll miss that. And Meyers, the one saving grace was the fourth quarter pass that he hit to Meyers. It was the
Mm,
only decent pass that he threw all night long. Everything was a flutter ball. He was lucky that he didn't turn the ball over a couple of times, and I just say it was a real regression.
mm,
I've bitten my tongue and been on the side of Mac Jones this entire season, from sitting him down during the Bears game to whatever else has gone on. I have championed this kid. He had a terrible game last night. It shouldn't have come down to what it came down to, because his first half was just so bad.
mm. Hard to argue. Very hard to argue. I've been a Mac apologist here on
Hmm.
the airwaves. I've been called such. Some of that I think is probably deserved this morning, but at
Yep.
the same time, you look at the job that these Patriots did last night, and it stems from the job that your quarterback is doing. 13 of 31 for 112 yards without a touchdown is not going to get it done in
Oh.
the stretch run. It's not going to get it done at any time. And
Mm-mm.
save for his two pass attempt or three pass attempt game and the weather game up in Buffalo last year, I think this might have been one of Mac's worst
Yep.
starts. I really and truly do. If you look at what that 39-yard completion did, it allowed him to finish with 3.6 yards per pass average last night, which is still not lighting it up. But if he doesn't complete that pass, it drops
Right.
to 2.4.
Oh my
That to
God.
me says that there's a lot under the surface when it comes to the Patriots and it comes to offense.
Yep.
Murph, is this a situation where you believe it's Mac's mechanics, where it's his emotions getting the best of him, or is the play calling really messing him up to the point where he just can't get into a rhythm and can't play his game?
I think it's the play calling and his mechanics. His
Mm,
mechanics really do look awful right now. It's almost like he's gone back to his post Alabama days in the first few weeks that we saw him here, sitting behind Cam Newton, and it was evident. It was disturbing to watch. Is quite. It's almost like that he's not going to complete the pass as it came out of his hands last night.
yeah, it really is. It's something that is concerning if you're a Patriots fan moving forward, especially if
Right.
the Patriots are looking to hitch their wagon to the Mac Jones star. We've seen it. We've seen the capabilities, we've seen the talent, and we've seen the
Yep.
potential in him in several games. Um, I'm going to ask the question: a change of scenery at offensive coordinator, is that possibly the difference that could make the difference for Mac Jones next season, or are these problems deeper than
It's a
that?
foregone conclusion now.
Yeah.
There is no way that Bill can get away with bringing Matt Patricia back as the signal caller. Somebody with a clue really needs to be behind that
Mm, you're right.
that menu. Too often, the plays come in late. You can see on the sidelines that they're running third down, and Matt has no idea what he's going to call on fourth down. There,
Mm,
this Raiders team had given up 100% of the red zone touchdowns when a team was sitting on the 5 yard line or fewer, and he couldn't get a play in time. He had to burn two timeouts.
exactly.
It's he's not in over. He's not just in over his head. Somebody has tied a cannon to his ankles and dropped him off the side of the boat.
Mm,
Okay, that's how over his head. It's over. It's done with. Um, Once again, I at the beginning of the year I said let's slow down. Let's see how this works out. Well, we're 14 games into it, and this was probably one of the worst mistakes that Bill Belichick has ever made. And it goes
mm,
it goes all the way back. This goes back to, I'm sorry, Bill not wanting to interview people from the outside.
mm,
He just wanted his men sitting around him. Yep, this is my new offensive coordinator. This is my new play caller. This is my offensive line coach. This is my quarterback coach. This coaching staff is probably the smallest in the NFL. Okay, and and
mhm.
and it shows. it shows because these guys are just pulled in so many different directions. They
Mm,
can't focus on one thing, and nobody can get their job done because they don't have the coaching. This is a very young team, and it's shockingly the youngest players on this team are playing the best, but they're also dumb. They're
mm,
also young kids and they're dumb, and they just it's not second nature to them yet. And like I said before, you could see it on like Devin McCourty's face walking
mm.
off the field last night that this is just it's been too much, and you could probably bank that you won't see Devin McCourty back here next year if this is still going to be the driving force, the brain trust behind the Patriots.
Yeah, if there's still something left in McCourty's tank, you would hate to see him finish out the string in another uniform, but I think it's gotten to that point.
Yeah,
I think he'll retire before he would do
yeah,
that, but at the same time, I think that the frustration level right now is so high that I think he'd at least consider it. And even if that's all he would do, that's still a loss in the Patriots book. And you brought up an interesting point about coaching staffs and about the way this unit is assembled. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. But before we take our leave of the offense, wanted to try to end on a high note, Bud, and I know it's tough to end on a high note when it comes to this offense because there was very, very little to cheer about last night. But save for an egregious mistake that he does
yeah,
deserve a good share of blame for, you have to give a little love to Rhamondre Stevenson on a bad
all of
ankle,
it,
getting 172 yards on
all of it.
19 carries, the 34-yard touchdown. This kid is taking
Yep.
full advantage of the Patriots' gap scheme runs when they pull Cole Strange. And that allows guys like Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith to provide the run protection and the
Hmm.
12-man personnel. This team can really catch fire. I
Right.
don't know why they're not doing it more, but at this point, got to give some love to Rhamondre
Yeah.
Stevenson there. Redeem that man's name a little bit because he had a hell of a game last
I
night.
mean, imagine if he had a fullback to run behind.
Mm,
Okay, but Matt Patricia sent him off packing also with
mm.
his new offense.
Miss
Um,
Jakob Johnson.
yeah, God, man, and it's to miss a fullback the way, but this kid is in my book one of the finest runners that this team has ever had,
Hmm.
and that's saying a lot. There are Hall of Fame running backs that have
Yeah.
been here in New England, and this kid is right up there with each and every one of them. And what he's doing single handedly is one of the hands down best season performances that I've seen from a Patriot since Randy Moss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Very good, apt comparison. So, we look at the New England Patriots and what they're able to do, folks. There are building blocks for the future. There are positives, but
Sure.
it is really dismal right now. And especially when you're facing the three teams that are facing New England in the face right now, Cincinnati, Miami, and Buffalo, looks like an insurmountable hole for the Pats to clear out
Yep.
of. So, what does that mean for the Patriots moving forward? Murph and I are pretty much in agreement, and I think you all are too, that there are certain changes to be made at the coaching staff. But how are they going to make them? That be the question, and we'll tackle that subject when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast concludes. But first, folks, wanted to tell you a little bit about our good friends over at PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. And let me tell you a little bit about how PrizePicks works. You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. There's no competing against other people, so you're not competing against Murph or myself. It's just you versus the projections available. And PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you watch, including the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, PGA, college football, men's and women's college basketball, and so much more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. That's right, folks. It is that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals, and they're currently available in over 30 states and in Canada. So download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code locked on. And if you deposit $100, get this, Murph, they'll give you $100. If you deposit $50, they'll give you $50. So, folks, don't forget to enter the promo code locked on at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks.com. Patriots fans, we're about to wrap things up here on a monster Mad Murph Monday here on Locked On Patriots. I'm your host, Mike DeBay, joined by the legendary Thomas Murphy himself. And Murph, Again, anger is going to be abound in New England for at least the next few days, at least until Christmas Eve when the Cincinnati Bengals roll into town. And then that anger may turn to, I don't know, despair,
Yep.
crying, dogs and cats living together,
Yep.
mass hysteria. I think anything's on the table right now. But I think we're all in agreement here on Patriots Nation. I don't think I speak for just you. I think I speak for the fan base here that believes that there have to be changes
Hmm.
on the coaching staff without any question. This team can no longer sustain the type of environment that you articulated and described perfectly. This sort of Arthurian round table where the coaches are kind of given titles but not given titles, and
Yep.
everybody's kind of pulling their information in. You need dedicated minds. I keep coming back to one of my favorite movies, The American President, Michael Douglas as President Andrew Shepard saying, we have serious problems to solve, and we
Yep.
have serious people, or we need serious people to solve them. Sounds a lot like the Patriots coaching staff right now. All right, my friend, you see things that us mere mortals don't see. In your green wisdom and counsel, what do the Patriots need to do to this staff in order to make sure that it's efficient and better than efficient in 2023?
Bill O'Brien needs to be brought back.
Mm,
And we said it at the beginning of the year when there were rumors about O'Brien coming back, and we all worried that he would come in and do such a fantastic job. He would be out in a year, and Mac would be dealing with his third OC in 3 seasons, and none of us wanted that. Um, Bring him back in, overpay him, guarantee him the fact that, come 2025, 2026, after Bill has gotten his record-setting win and puts Don Shula in the rear view mirror, that he will be the next head coach. They need a strong mind and a strong hand on this on the offensive side of this ball, and then bring in God, man, it's there needs to be some accountability at the on special teams. Send Joe Judge back to special teams. I've never had
mm,
an issue with him. I don't care about your ego or anything. You're under contract. Go coach special teams. I don't know what to do with Matt Patricia. Give him his little office and allow him to be special assistant to Bill or whatever. But O'Brien is the man that needs to be brought in here. Do you think Bill O'Brien would put up with Mac Jones screaming at him from the
but
middle of the field, or
no,
coming off and yelling down the sidelines at him?
no,
Hell no.
no.
All right, Bill O'Brien would get into the face of Tom Brady and tell him to shut the
Took the
f
words
up.
right out of my mouth. Yeah,
All right. Do you
exactly.
think that he would have any problem
Mm,
putting Mac Jones in his place? I understand that Mac is frustrated. Okay, but you're 2 years into this, son, and I understand that the guy that's telling you what to do probably doesn't know as much about offensive football as you do, but you can't do that. All
mm,
right. The smartest kid that I've ever coached is my son. All right. And he would never in his life tell me to go back to the bench and sit down when I walked out to talk to him on the mound when something wasn't going right. And
mm,
this kid knows 300% more about baseball than I do. And I'm not an idiot, people.
mm.
Um, no, it needs an iron fist. And
Yeah,
Bill O'Brien is an iron fist. Bring
yeah,
him back. Okay. Sean Payton is out there. Sean Payton is not an iron fist.
right.
Okay, he's an excellent football coach, but he's not an iron fist. Um, there are other guys that Flo could be brought back as the head coach. I wouldn't mind seeing that, and O'Brien as the head coach. But I don't think Bill's on his way out.
Mm,
You need an offensive coordinator, and Bill O'Brien's it. Go pay him whatever the hell you need to pay him. Guarantee him whatever you need to guarantee him, that this won't be a 1 year stop or a 2 year stop. And
mm,
let's right this ship,
yeah,
because that's where it starts. It starts with the coaching. It starts with people pushing back at the draft table. Okay, it worked out for a couple. We've had two very good drafts in a row, but there needs to be another voice in there that knows the college game and knows what's going on.
mm,
And I think it's Bill O'Brien,
yeah.
because he's not intimidated by anything, by anybody's rings, by anybody's draft status, nothing. Bring Bill O'Brien back.
100% agree. 100% agree because for all of the issues that are on all three phases in New England, Cam Ashford, I believe, will at least be coached up at the very least, and I don't know if he's back next year. I think all the problems you're
No,
seeing on special teams
it's just
do not
it's 2
warrant
years of
that. Yeah,
this.
it,
It's 2
it doesn't
seasons of
warrant
this.
that, and we're 2 seasons into this now. We even mentioned this in the offseason last year when Joe Judge came back. Having a heavier hand
Yep.
in the special teams unit was something we expected, and you got Joe Judge coaching quarterbacks on the offensive side of the ball. That's where the major problem is. For all of the issues that the Patriots may have on defense at time, that unit has been the only unit that's been relatively consistent all season long. I mean, you're going to have difficulties, you're going to have ups and downs. Can it be better? Absolutely. But there is a lot of talent in all three levels on that defense. And when they come
Yep.
together and they're coached properly, great things will happen. And you've seen this defense shut down pretty good offenses as well.
But they did it
So
last night.
they
They
can
did it
do it.
last
And
night
you're absolutely right.
until they had their legs cut out from
Yep.
underneath them. Okay,
Yep.
they did it last night. What Jones was able to do last night in shutting down God, why do I do this to myself?
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams, thank you so much. This is a lack of sleep. I didn't sleep last night, people. Was nothing short of amazing. Nothing
It
short
really
of
was.
amazing. This is
For
a
a
man
rookie,
that
yeah.
has been
For
torching,
anybody.
right, that has been torching the best in this business from the second he ever walked onto this field. A guy that has been literally unstoppable since his rookie year. For a rookie to come in here and make him look that bad,
Mm.
take your hat off. Kyle Duggar had a fantastic game last night. Fantastic, not just the pick six. I saw that coming. I just want to keep replaying that in my head, and because it was one of the same plays that the Patriots burned the Raiders on in '77. Never mind, we're not going to go there. Sugar Bear game, but it's that there's talent there. It's just the fact that the coaches on the offensive side of the ball are not doing justice to the men on the defensive side of the ball. The talent is there. Except for please get Nelson Aguilar off of my freaking field, please.
Mm.
And but other than that, no. It comes down to coaching and teaching these kids um what they need to know in every situation.
Right.
The T's are not crossed and the I's are not
Mhm.
dotted, and it's becoming more and more evident every week.
Mm, yeah, and I agree with you about O'Brien. I think he is the proper voice, the only voice right now that can come in and right the ship because he's the only one with the cachet right now that will be able to
Right.
not only keep Mac Jones in line, but also be able to be a voice when maybe Bill Belichick's voice is not the one that the crowd that the team needs to hear. There's so much that's put on the head coach's responsibility, and ultimately it all falls under his purview. No
Yeah.
one's arguing that. But sometimes you need that alpha presence in one of the coordinator positions, and on offense, they desperately need it. You're absolutely right. O'Brien is the guy, and don't forget the familiarity with Alabama's offensive system. This is
Yep.
someone Mac Jones has worked with. This is someone he respects. And I think that will go a long way because Mac will not be able to get away with some of the emotional outbursts that we've seen on the
No.
sidelines. In all fairness to Mac, I don't think he'll have as much of a reason to get
No.
frustrated with a
Right.
guy like Bill O'Brien calling the plays as he is right now. But at the same time, that level of mutual respect will put this in there. And, considering the Patriots played the Raiders, I'll get all in the feels of Pirates of the Caribbean. You can almost see, you know, Bill O'Brien coming back in, as Tia Dama would say in Dead Man's Chest, you need a captain that knows those waters. Bill O'Brien knows those waters. And if
Yep.
he comes downstairs very Barbosa-esque and goes, so tell me, what's become of my offense? I think that might really, kind of get this team
Brilliant.
going a little bit. So,
Brilliant.
bottom line, folks, there are serious problems to solve in New England, but New England will need serious people to solve them. Will they take Murph and my advice? Your guess is as good as mine, but the Patriots need to turn their attention right now to the Cincinnati Bengals. We're on to Cincinnati. That's two here on the podcast right now since we've since we've talked about getting that reference in, and we will continue to break that down all week long here, leading up to Christmas Eve's kickoff at 1 p.m. at Gillette Stadium. Murph, what can I say, my friend? Thank you so much for lending the wisdom and counsel the way only you can. The week's tip of the cap always goes to you, my friend. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can find you, where they can catch your great work, and what you've got cooking in that green wisdom and counsel kitchen over there.
Well, yeah, I've already got the keys for this week's game mapped out. I've been working on them for the past 2 weeks. This Cincinnati team is fantastic. I've got a nice new Red Sox piece up over there at e2gsports.com. Tomorrow, you can tune in to One Patriots Place. Doug Kide is going to stop by this week, and always a good time. We'll get his take on the game and look ahead to Cincinnati on Christmas Eve, and hopefully that this team can dig its way out of this giant hole that they're in.
Absolutely. And we all hope that from your lips to God's ears, my friend, to the football God's ears. And the Patriots now turn their attention to the Cincinnati Bengals. In the meantime, folks, thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Now that you've made us your first listen, please make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On Sports Today. All the major storylines, all the information you could possibly ask for, and they even give you the take of the day. How much better can it get? Locked On Sports Today is available for download and wherever you get your podcasts on the Odyssey app or all major carriers, and especially available on YouTube. On behalf of my good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate. Continue to stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone.
Keep digging.